XRP, massive news today. This is not going to happen. Interest rates at $1. But again, XRP, if interest rates were $1, $10 XRP. That would be pretty crazy if we saw that, though, because that would mean that the crypto markets would literally have, the US government would have 0% chance of recession, right? But if you artificially cut interest rates, what you get is a full-on recession. You can get a full-on recession, and that's the bad thing.
Stocks and crypto alike. But I do think there's a very high probability, based off of what I'm seeing right now, that this bull run is going to be substantially crazier because of the rise of AI specifically and how that correlates to cryptocurrency and the desperate need the entire world has right now for a store of value that is sound, that is strong, that suits their needs, that represents them fairly. It's going to get insane. So why do I think that? Well, let's get into this. You guys are probably dying.
So Levi is saying AI is going to change crypto. I personally feel what's really going to change is the new XRP RippleNet, because that's the real thing they've been working, technology, and it's finally out. We already saw AI in 2021 with the crypto bull run rally in 2023, 2024, and nothing could even compare to crypto XRP's growth gains.
See what's going on here. I want to start with a statement that Trump made today. He says that interest rates should be at 1%.
That's way too
I
low.
want to remind you guys who are watching this video that Trump has been pushing very aggressively to remove the current chair, Jerome Powell, and to replace him with somebody who will lower rates. On top of that, Trump is also actively working to replace the current governors that are within the Federal Reserve. He was successful on doing that once already. He's going to be doing that again very soon, according to some statements he's made. And this is how the Federal Reserve works. When you have a majority within the Fed that want to cut rates, the rates will be cut. And so right now we're, I believe, at close to 4 or 3 out of 6 or 4 out of 8, something like that.
Yeah, so the interest rates are still very high. So I feel like 3 interest rate cuts is exactly what we're going to be getting. Maybe 2, but in September it is almost 100%. Because if we didn't get it now, unless we enter a very, very bad news, it is very certain. But 1%, again, if 1% interest rates would be like that, and I had a discussion today with my friends. They said it's because Trump is in real estate. And what happens is when real estate interest rates are at 1%, you can afford a lot of housing without these interest rates, right? You can buy loans. And with these loans, you can buy a lot of property. Or you can loan out to buy crypto. It would be very good for the economy, right? But it could create a recession if people would abuse it or find ways to make money.
Better in favor of cutting rates. We're basically right at the precipice of hitting that moment in time where we can actually cut rates, even with Jerome Powell as the Fed chair.
Just think about rates being already priced in.
If he is replaced, then automatically it's going to be cut, assuming Trump appoints this person and this person is wanting to cut rates. So the absolute worst case is the rate cuts don't happen until May of 2026. That's when, Jerome Powell officially is going to, of course, have his term end and Trump can replace him, the regular way. But that is if we don't get another Fed governor in that wants to lower rates, which I think...
So this is one common misconception. People feel like they can replace Jerome Powell. You cannot replace Jerome Powell because he is his own identity. The Fed makes its own decisions. So it's going to be impossible to actually replace him. What Trump can do is wait by the end of the year for Jerome Powell to leave. Then, as Levi said, they can place someone that will actually do these rate cuts. Now, this could create a problem if Jerome Powell is more experienced. This is up to debate. Personally, I feel like he has done some great stuff for economy. The thing is, we could be entering a bad market, and we got to also save the economy in that way. But right now, it's looking like we're going all-time highs, especially with the rate cuts. But the rate cuts could already pre-priced in.
It's becoming a very stressful job.
So priced in means that the price doesn't change that much.
Powell's getting. So
We're now in the altcoin
but
Ethereum season.
It has, there's a few more catalysts for us to see first. Now, of course, the markets are incredibly excited. I mean, I've seen this happen in 2021. Got till
May. Yeah, till May.
But I do think this is just the start. Ethereum just hit $4,700 per coin. Now, you guys might be wondering, Levi, what does any of that have to do with XRP? That's a great question. I mean, in a video, maybe 3 or 4 videos ago, I covered the Bitcoin season, Ethereum season, followed by the high cap season. We're seeing the Ethereum season, and Ethereum is going to top out, I think, sometime in the next 4 months, if I had to guess. And
also, we can't really guess because, stuff has happened in crypto, but I am really certain that, with Ethereum right now, it's going to be very hard that XRP flips it. But I feel like if Ethereum and Bitcoin go up, that's good for XRP, right? Because that's more money in the total trillion market cap. And guess what? Some people will sell their Ethereum, put this money into XRP. So you shouldn't feel bad if Bitcoin is growing, because this is literally going to grow XRP prices as well. And past data proves this.
Once Ethereum tops out, it's very likely that XRP is going to top out closely thereafter. And so it just happens in cycles, right? And this is why we're also seeing some nice positive price action for XRP right now. It might not be on the same level as Ethereum is, but it comes in waves, guys. Ethereum, XRP, it's going to come in waves. That's just the way that it works. I mean, yes, XRP is up on the daytime.
I feel like XRP had like 4 or 5 waves just this year of growth. Like it literally had 2 or 3 waves before it's even its own chance for growth. Again, XRP is an altcoin, which means it should join the altcoin rally. There's sudden waves of growth, right? First there's Bitcoin, then there's Ethereum, then there's XRP. And we are suddenly seeing XRP joining Bitcoin. So yeah, seems like XRP is literally winning the race.
Technically, albeit it's not that much, especially when you look at, compared to some other things like, of course, Solana and Ethereum, they're doing amazing. But I don't think it's going to be much longer before XRP really foresees a lot of its price action. I also want to remind you guys, though, that XRP just had a massive pump because of the case ending. And so that's why it's probably not seen.
That's what I don't agree with Levi. He said that we got a massive pump because of the case ending. We got a massive pump 8 months ago. The case ending being official just pumped at 20 cents. I feel like it was already priced in and it was just finally over, right? So the price didn't really change that much. But if we look at this year, then yeah, XRP did have most of its growth, because what XRP did is, because of the case being over, it just hasn't really grown in price. What it did is readjusted to its realistic value, right? To what it should be priced without the lawsuit, without the risk of being deemed a security. So this is what a lot of people miss out, and that's my own theory, but it has worked in the past.
As much green today because it already saw a lot of green.
Smash that like button as well, guys.
We had some great news and retail was buying like crazy. But this is a really good sign. What we're seeing is institutions are trading very heavily on Ethereum and Solana, and what they're probably going to do is they're going to recycle those profits that they're making right now as retail FOMOs in onto XRP. That's my thesis, but we're going to see what happens. Now, another thing that I think is incredibly important is tariff revenue. U.S. tariff revenue has surged over 300% in July of 2025, bringing in a record $29.6 billion in 1 month.
That's a lot of money.
At this pace, tariff revenue could exceed $350 billion per year. Now, this is a massive number. In fact, I was doing some research, and the amount that the U.S. government collects for corporate income tax is actually lower than this figure every single year. So tariff revenue could exceed corporate income tax.
Well, that's because Trump is really pushing tariffs now. I feel like if he stops pushing tariffs to countries, again, we're seeing 50 new tariff announcements each month. This is definitely going to drop. Like, if Trump, decides to, there's only so many countries you can negotiate with, right? So I don't feel like 350 billion is sustainable. That's why he's focusing on other growth, stocks, AI, PEC, XRP. He's going to focus on other things, not just the tariff stuff that we have seen that is basically negotiating power and more money for the US government, which is good for the US economy, actually. The tariffs are good, but they are not a sustainable way. You can't just increase tariffs and bring in more revenue each single year unless, we are seeing more trading volume as well from exports, imports.
America, the largest economy in the world. And so, yes, if Trump can reduce spending, which, albeit right now, they're actually increasing spending a lot. If he can reduce spending, though, they can, and interest rates are lowered, they can 1000% afford to lower income taxes inside of America. Maybe even get rid of them altogether and continuously increase tariffs. This would be amazing for American citizens. It would suck for everyone doing business with America because they'd have to eat a lot of those costs, but this would be incredible. Incredible. And it's showing that tariffs actually can replace income tax. Go figure. That is insane. I mean, just look at this chart right here showing the growth in July. That is amazing. We're also seeing that CapEx spending is skyrocketing. The CapEx to sales ratio of the largest AI spenders has crossed 8.
Tariffs worked in 1912. Yeah, I mean, that worked 100 years ago. So I'm saying, yeah, it is making money right now. Like, tariffs are good. 1912 was a good year, but the issue is this sustainable long term? I feel like Trump is now diversifying into anything that can make money that US is not doing yet. That's why they want to make their own microchips, right? It's my own theory that they're making microchips because they're trying to get a market share of what they had to import before. So now with US companies, instead, these crypto companies are going to be based in US, and he's not going to have to buy, for example, from Europe, like crypto companies or tech companies. They can just make US companies. They can make XRP the most possible thing when XRP had to work outside of US before.
18% for the first time in history. This is a
love
chart.
you guys all, by the way.
Now,
Smash that
AI
like.
companies
Really love you.
spending and technology companies spending have to do with cryptocurrency,
AI arms
Levi?
race.
Well, it's everything. If companies are spending record levels of money, if the U.S. government is bringing in record levels of money, it's showing that productivity is through the absolute roof right now. This is amazing. This is such a strong sign that this economy is doing amazingly well. Spending is through the roof. Revenues are through the roof. People are investing into the future, which is a sign that they're very confident in, that future, especially when it comes to AI and cryptocurrency.
Thank you for all updates. Appreciate you, Steven.
Stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah, it seems like pretty clear right now. I'll keep you guys updated if the markets crash or something. The most important factor is here, everything is looking very green. The U.S. government, it's never been easier to get a job or be productive than today, which means more people will put money in XRP. That's the easiest way to understand it. And I am explaining here how the U.S. government is going to help. What does the U.S. government want to make? It wants to make a good economy by making everyone rich, right? That's the most basic of it. And that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to push and be fully autonomous. Basically, I'm not sure if that's correct word. English is my second language. But they're trying to be its own specific country that doesn't need to export anything. And it's trying to tariff everyone as well, especially the smaller countries. So yeah, I'm warning you, it's coming. The big replacement. And again, this is more and more good news we're seeing for